All right, so let's start with question 14. They don't give us a list question here, interestingly. They just go right to a must be true. Which one of the following must be true? So we look at, it's a global question. We have nothing to do but just go to the answer choices and see, stop when we reach one that is going to have to be true based on our diagram. So we started A, the French award is presented at some time before the Japanese award is presented. Does the French have to be somewhere before the Japanese? And if we look at our deduction down here, that's very clear, right? That the French is going to have to be somewhere before the Japanese. So that's our answer, A. All right. Now, B, C, D, and E on the real test, and I've said this before, you wouldn't go through it. You wouldn't go through B, C, D, and E because you're positive that A is the answer. But just really quickly, in case someone has a question as to why one of these other ones does not have to be true, I'll go through them. The French award is presented at some time before Swahili. So remember, we just said that the G and S uh, are variables that we don't know that much about, but we do know that French is going to be before G because G, actually, no, we don't. Sorry. Uh, G and S, we don't know. I was thinking G had to come after the H and F because it can't be first, but of course we could put S first, then G, and then go with the big line that we created. So G and S are the variables we don't know that much about, and we certainly don't know that French is going to come before Swahili. C says the German award is presented at some time before the Korean award. Again, G is a wild card. We can move G around, so that doesn't have to be true. D is again talking about the German award. It says German award is presented at some time before Swahili. That's definitely not true. Uh, there's no rule that says that, and one instance in which we wouldn't have to follow that would be we put Swahili first, German second, and then the big line that we created down here. And then answer choice E says the Swahili award is presented at some time before Hebrew. Again, that does not have to be true. We can put Swahili towards the back if we want. So you would have just stopped at A, and this was a gift from LSAC because they let you do, that you would have probably done this question in 10 or 15 seconds as soon as you understood what they were asking you. Assuming that you started at A, you would have just seen right away that that was the answer and then gone from there to number 15. So let's do that. 15 says if the Hebrew award is presented fourth, which one of the following must be true? So this is a local question where they're giving us particular information. We need to incorporate that information into our diagram, build on it based upon the analysis we've already done, and then figure out, in this case, what must be true. So what they're telling us to start with is that Hebrew is fourth. I'm going to do this in blue so I can remember to take it off. Hebrew is going to be fourth, okay? Uh, so what does that mean in relation to the big line that we came up with? Well, if we tried to go HF, then we would run out of room because remember we have H, that we put the H in 4. If we tried to put the F in 5, then we would still need to put K, L, and J all after the H, but we would only have 2 spaces left, so we would run out of room. So then instead of putting the F in fifth, we need to put the F in third. Remember, that block was indeterminate, and they're relying on that for this question to work. So we put the F in third, and now we don't know whether this is going to be K or L, okay? But so we need to make sure we don't assume that. And then the J is going to have to go in seventh. And again, all I'm doing is putting in the big line that we came up with. So who's left over? G and S, right? And remember, G cannot go first. So G cannot go first. So uh, instead of G, we'll have to put S here. And then we can put the G here. So all of what we wrote in here is what has to happen, what must be true if the H is fourth. So we can look for an answer that's represented here as on our diagram as a definite. So we just to be make a point, we cannot have an answer about K or L being in a specific spot because we don't know that. But everybody else, we know exactly where they're going to go. Okay, so let's look at the answers. The French award is presented fifth, no. The German award is presented third, no. The Japanese award is presented sixth, no. The Korean award is presented fifth. That's the danger, right? Some people may have just been lazy and wrote KL in, and they might get tricked by D. And then E says the Swahili award is presented first, and that's the right answer. And remember, the reason is because we were left to put S and G in 1 and 2, and G cannot be in 1, so it had to be S. Okay? That's number 15. And 14 and 15 were both relatively easy. Even though on 15 we had to do a little bit more work, there wasn't any big complication involved in it. So hopefully you get, on the real test you would get through 14 and 15 relatively quickly, maybe like a minute 20 seconds, something like that total, and you would have them both right, and you're starting to feel confident on this game. So let's go to number 16. If the German award is presented third, which one of the following could be true? Oh, I need to take this off. And this is also a question where they're giving us more information. So I'm going to create a diagram, particularly for this question. You would do it next to the question, but I'm doing it on the main setup because I don't want to run out of room, and I can easily take the stuff in blue off of the diagram once I'm done. So 16 says, if the German award is presented third, which one of the following could be true? Okay, so German's third. So let's think about what this means in relation to our big deduction that we came up with here. G has 4 spaces after it, but that big line, which starts with an HF block, has five variables in it, which means if we tried to put the beginning of that line after the G, we wouldn't be able to do it. We would run out of room. So that means that we have to put the beginning of that line in front of the G. So H and F are going to have to go here. And remember, we don't know the order. It's not G, it's F. We don't know the order. God. Okay, so the H and the F block we know is going to have to go in front of the G, because if we tried to put it behind the G, we would run out of room. Okay, so now we still have the K, L, and J left, but we also have the S. And the thing is, the S can fit in, like we said earlier, the S is going to be able to fit in anywhere, okay? Just not between the K and the L, but otherwise it can go anywhere. So it could go in fourth, or it could go in sixth, or it could go in seventh. It could not go in fifth, because if we tried to put the S in fifth, that would require that we put the KL block in sixth and seventh, because that would be the only two, those would be the only two adjacent spaces that are left open, and then we would run out of room to put the J. So the S could go in 4, 6, or 7. But yeah, so the S can go in 4, 6, or 7, and so the backside is pretty wide open. But they just want to know what could be true, so that's fine. If it's wide open, that means there are some things that could be true, and we just want to pick the one that shows up in the answer choices. So the French award is presented fourth. Could that happen? Yeah. Oh no, sorry, French. No, that's impossible, right? We already know that the H and F are going to be in 1 and 2. So what about B? The Japanese award is presented fifth. Now that's impossible for sure, right? Just by looking at the diagram, we know that K and L have to come before Japanese. The Japanese award is presented sixth. Could that be true? Yes, right? That could be true, and here's how. We put the, I'm sure you guys see it too, but just in case anyone doesn't see it, okay, that's a little low. Right, we could put the KL like this, and they want us to put the Japanese 6, so we can put the Japanese 6 because the S is very flexible, and we can put the S last. Okay, so this proves that we can indeed put Japanese 6. So this takes advantage of the flexibility that I was referencing before we started looking at the answer choices. Now let's just look at C, D, and E. Okay, just if you need to write this down, write it down. I'm going to take it off because I want to look at C, D, and E with an open mind instead of looking at it with this, with the answer already on the board. So let's take this off. Oh, not that. All right, and let's look at, actually, we just have D and E left. C was the answer. The Korean award is presented second. That's impossible. We know second is either going to be H or F. And then the Swahili award is presented fifth. And that was the answer choice that I was referencing earlier. That's the one place where Swahili cannot go, right? Because, and it gives us a chance to draw it up just to make it clear. If Swahili was presented fifth, then this would have to be either K or L, and so would this, because those are the only two spaces that are adjacent to each other that are still open. And the problem is that we've run out of room to put the J. The J has to come after the KL block, the KL indeterminate block. Okay, so E's out. So the solution, and again, I know that I'm going slow and I'm going to be doing that for a lot of these videos. The solution is that we can indeed put the Japanese 6th, because we can put the S in 7th, and then we can put the K or L here, and then the K or L here. Okay, that's why C is the right answer, because we can do it like this. All right, so let's go on. Let's go to number nine. Sorry, what number are we on? Number 17. So number 17 is asking us, I keep forgetting to take the old work off the board. Number 17 says the earliest that the Japanese award could be presented is, and then they give us the options of 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. So we just want to know what's the earliest that the Japanese award can go. And we can do it one of two ways. We can either look directly here and see that, well, there have to be 4 people before Japanese, so that means that the earliest Japanese could go is 5th, and that would be our answer. Or we can look at our not laws, and we can see that we put not laws here for Japanese, here, 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 and here, so that, again, the earliest it could go is 5th. And if we did put Japanese 5th, then the 2 blocks would go in front, and the G and S would go after the J, okay? So this is actually another question that if you did the work ahead of time, it's a 15-second or less question, and you can get through it relatively quickly. Okay, so I was hoping to get all the questions into one video, but it looks like time-wise that isn't going to work out. So that's it for this video, and I'll do the last 2 questions, 18 and 19, in the next video.